Welcome to Women in Conservation Wednesdays. Today we're here with Daphne, the Conservation and Higher Education Manager at Bristol Zoological Society. So Daphne, could you tell me what are the aims of your organisation?
Hi there, thank you for having me, Millie. I'm very excited to give this podcast. It's my first one, actually. So the aim of my organization in general, so it's Bristol Zoological Society, and it is to protect species in the UK and worldwide, and trying to protect their habitat. So that's our main. So our motto is saving wildlife together. So it's implementing conservation initiatives that are beneficial to people as well as to wildlife to ultimately protect biodiversity. And my project in particular, so we have 10 different projects around the world, and my project is the Philippine Conservation Program. And this project is set in the Philippines, and is to so we have our flagship species is the Negro splitting heart dove, which is very much like a pigeon, but with a red heart, therefore the bleeding heart. And it's a very, very rare species, very hard to see, and a favorite to all bird lovers out there. And the other species, the Visayan warty pig, which is a pig species that we have at Bristol Zoo Garden right now. Very charismatic. It has a little crest like a punk. And our male pig is called Elvis because he has like sideburns on the side. Very beautiful species. And these two species basically are our umbrella species, the species that we try to protect, and by that protecting the habitat, and other species that are attracting less fundings because they're less interesting to general public. And there what we were trying to do is again saving wildlife together. So trying to make sure that the biodiversity, including these species, are not disappearing, the habitat is protected, and that the people living around the protected areas are supported to improve their quality of life and to find a way to use sustainably the resources around them.
Well, that sounds very cool and very interesting. So how do you hope that it will benefit the conservation sector?
We are active, so we are conservationists, right? That's our job. We are actually applied conservationists. So we do a little bit of conservation science, and we publish scientific papers, peer-reviewed papers, but we are ultimately practitioners. Therefore, we applied science that we read and that we have contributed to into applying it to conservation initiative in the field. And I think that's really exciting for me, coming from an academic background where, I had my PhD and it was very fundamental science. And here I am able to test, the things that conservation biologists have found, and see whether they are applicable and whether they help the biodiversity that I'm set out to protect.
Oh, thank you. That sounds really important and sounds like definitely have a big impact on the conservation sector. So could you tell me how you got into conservation?
Sure. So basically, that's going back to my career a little bit. So, so in university, I studied biology, and I really loved social behavior, like animal behavior. That was my thing, and social behavior, interaction between individuals. I was really interested in that. And so I, continued towards this, and I studied in La Rochelle in France, and in Tours in France as well. Then I went for 1 year in the US, and there I encountered primates and social insects, which was, I think, the two really, really interesting type of animals that you could work on social science with, social behavior. And there I find out about a project that was going to follow capuchins in Costa Rica. And so I studied in Costa Rica, and then I continued on and I studied in Nigeria and then also in Indonesia. So these 3 different places where I spent, 1 or 2 years there, then I really experienced the disconnect between fundamental science and conservation. In Costa Rica, I saw a huge log that was cut down at night illegally. And there was a huge like $sign engraved that was clearly giving the message that this was done for money. And in Nigeria, there was other troubles, and in Indonesia as well. And they really felt like, I love, following animals, especially primates, and looking at their behavior and such, but they felt like what I was doing was not very useful to the species that I really cared about and the habitat in general. So I decided to go for conservation and actually try to protect the biodiversity that I was studying before. And so that's how I got into conservation. So, and then based on this decision, I had the choice between, teaching the new generation of conservationists or carrying my own project. And I found a job where I could do both, which was great. So I'm currently now lecturing in university about conservation and the project that I lead. This afternoon, I have to teach actually to second-year students and in how animal behavior impact conservation. And then I also lead my own conservation project, which is great.
And thank you for sharing that. You obviously have a very established career in conservation. As you said, you're a lecturer and you're inspiring the new generation of conservationists with your teaching. So could you tell me how you found your experience in working in conservation as a woman, and do you feel like it's had any impact on your career?
Yeah, so that was really a really interesting question that I never really had time to think about before. How being a woman has impacted my career or my experience in conservation, or even in academia in general. I will offer you my experience, which could be very different from one person to the other, with no judgment and such. But I have to say, I've never really felt any negative discrimination over me being a woman. If anything, that has helped me in my experience. Because being a woman, I in places like Nigeria or Costa Rica or Indonesia, I would be cared for slightly more than a man. I will be, there will be more attention towards me because they wanted me to be comfortable and to be well. And I was highly respected because a woman in the forest, it's a bit more different from what most people experience in these countries. And I mean, they are very different, right? Costa Rica and Nigeria, it's like 3 different continents, very, very different. But especially in Indonesia, for example, like having, like white woman, bule, as I call it there, being in the forest and spending 12 hours a day, collecting data. They were really, really respectful, very kind, very, very, very kind. And in terms of my career and finding jobs and such, I felt that this really gave me, it was a benefit actually, because, there's been in the past a lot of men in, higher position. And I think there is really a wish, a push for having more women in this higher position. So yeah, if anything, I think that's been a benefit for me. I've never had negative, I mean, it's one time this one guy grabbed my hand and said, "Oh, you're coming with me in Nigeria." And I said no, and that was finished. So I never had really a Me Too moment, but I know a lot of friends that did, and I respect them for that, and I think it's really important to share it. But for me personally, in my experience, it's been fine. Yeah.
That's really nice to hear that your experience has been really positive in your career, as well as when you've traveled to other distant countries. What are your favorite memories from working conservation?
It's really hard.
It might be, it's probably really hard to choose, but if you could just pick one or even a few.
Yeah, can I give you 2?
Of course, yeah.
So one is I was a bit lost in the forest, and I had to go. I was on my own, which is very rare. Usually now people don't go in, like in tropical forest on their own anymore for security reasons, and it's really good. But this time I was on my own. Someone was coming up later, and I completely lost where I was, and I lost the animals I was supposed to to follow. And I was really went down. I was like, oh no, I lost them. It's horrible. I'm going to have to find them and search them for long hours. Very hard to find animals sometimes. You really have to work really hard. And then I found them and the sunrise, and I was so happy. It was, I was at the right place at the right time. I was so pleased with, who I was and what I've become and what I've done. It was just an epiphany. It was like, this is exactly me. This is my life. This is what I want to do. And that's, I think I remember it was, I think the 2nd of February, 2004. And I just felt like, I found my way. And before I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do in my life. And I think that was such a blessing. Yeah. And the second one is, it's a bit of a line of moments, but I work with fantastic people in the Philippines. And one in particular, Rhea Santillan, which I work regularly with, is she's such a fantastic person. And I feel that we have built a bond together now to do something in the Philippines about conservation. But it's just, for me, it's like really, I'm so happy. It's my favorite moment is when I can work with people that are fantastic and help them and raise funds, raise money for them to carry their project, to help, what they do. So that's my job now. My job is not really to carry my own conservation project, is to find money and support people to do that in their country. And it's so, it's super rewarding. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing those experiences. They both sound really beautiful, and obviously building a connection with other people is integral to conservation and conservation success as well. So as a final question, do you have any tips or advice for people wanting to get into the conservation sector?
Sure. It's difficult. I think like any jobs, right? So job search is difficult. I think you need grit. Yeah. I mean, people ask me sometimes, do you need to have a PhD to work in the conservation sector? And I say, no, the only thing that PhD shows is that you have grit, that you can carry out a project for 3 to 4 years and, end it. So that's, I think you need really determination. When you are starting up, so like maybe when you're like a student that's finishing their bachelor, I think that experience is really good. Experience. I mean, the degree is good, master, it depends on where you start and such, but I think really showing experience in different projects is really useful because you learn different methods, you understand different type of people, different setup. So really experience is good, and long experience. So like there is, places where they offer you for a lot of money, 2 weeks. And I think that's not enough. I think that my first experience was 1 year, and not less, not more, because he was taking you about 3-4 months to get trained on the method, and then you could, be useful to the project. So I think I know that the money is really difficult, and I completely understand. I think that there's less and less projects out there that offer you experience if you stay long and cover your cost. But they are out there, and so if you dig a little bit, that's worth. I would sign up to environmentaljob.co.uk and this other one that has exactly the same name, and any kind of like job search, because even if you're not looking for a job, you can see what the employer is looking for, and that's really important. Also, I would do backtracking. It's an exercise that I do with my students where think about your dream job. What is your dream job? Like the ultimate dream job, what you really, really want to have in the future. And then try to find it online and then backtrack the type of skills you have to have up to your level. So do you need GIS knowledge, which is like a spatial, geospatial system, or do you need, another language? Do you need to know how to program? Do you need to be able to do a website? Doesn't matter, but like your dream job, and then where you are at, how are you going to build these skills? Because now there is so many people in the job market that you really need to plan your career.
No, that's really, really great advice. Thank you, especially as someone who's doing their bachelor's degree right now. That was really useful. Thank you so much for coming on our podcast today. I really enjoyed talking to you, and it's been really great hearing about all your experiences.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for offering this opportunity and for me to share all this. It's always good to hear back and think about, you know, the time when, you know, it was nice. Yeah, because there's ups and downs in conservation, and it's good to be reminded that, you know, ultimately we do that for a great cause. So thank you so much, Millie, for your time and